Hey guys, what's up? It's your host Cody Monroe, and this is the Afterparty podcast. I'll keep it short and sweet. My next guest is none other than Luke Hazell. He's an established producer and co-owner of music-related records, one of my personal favorites. We had a really good talk, man. We just discussed all things house music, how COVID has affected running the label, trying to be a producer and a DJ as well as being a family man. It was a really good talk, and I actually learned a lot from him. Check it out. Next guest, Luke Hazell.
Hello.
Luke, how's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Listen, I was just at this fucking sick party, and the DJ is playing your fucking tune, and everyone's going fucking nuts.
Oh, man, that's cool, man.
Man,
how are you, man? You good?
I'm good, man. It got me thinking. I just wanted to give you a call, and I just wanted to fucking rack your brain about music.
Sweet, man. I'm down for that. One thing I wanted to say first of all, man, is I wanted to thank you for consistently downloading the music from Music Related, man.
Oh, no way.
Every single time I go on to check who's downloaded the music from our promos that we send out, your name is guaranteed to be there. So thank you for consistently supporting us, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, dude, no, you're welcome. I'm honored that you have me in mind. Like a lot of producers and DJs kind of moan about the whole promo thing, but I think it's an honor. I think if someone takes time to send you a track, then you should fucking listen to it and really get down with it. And
I completely agree. I must admit, once I get sent quite a lot of promos, and as much as I moan about people not listening to promos, I'm also quite guilty of it, because unless I've got a gig, I don't need to download and collect loads and loads of digital music, because I just don't end up using it, and I end up like, say before a gig, I like to find new music that I'm listening to and I'll download it. I don't have a backlog of like tracks that I can sort of find, so I'm guilty of it. So unless I've got a gig, I don't bother downloading a lot of music, and I guess a lot of other people are probably the same. But like I say, you consistently download the music, and it's good to see.
Mate, yeah, I'm guilty as well. Don't get me wrong, we all get some naff promos, but I always at least try, even if I have no intention of playing out the music, I at least try to give some constructive criticism, because it's nothing worse than getting a promo back and it's like, thanks, we'll try. Like.
So there's a paid promo service called Dispersion, and it's basically like the best one that you can use as a label. It's got all the big names on it, and the big names always like respond. If you like the music, they respond. But even then, like, you see some of the big names and they're responding, and it's sort of the same generic, cool tracks, we'll try, or Jamie Jones pretty much without fail always says downloaded, will give feedback if played, and it's like, well, I wonder if he's ever actually give further feedback, because I can't imagine you download the music, play it out, it goes down well, and then comes back and gives some feedback. But I feel like the whole promo process is just a bit of a farce, to be honest. Which is why, as a label, we only send our music to like a select group of people. But of the like, I can't even think how many people we send our music to. Most of the people don't even bother listening to it or downloading it. So it's one of those things. It's actually like if good music's good music. Once it's released, it'll do well on its own. You don't need to have the big names consistently downloading the music to have that reassurance that the music is good.
Yeah, and like I know what you're saying, and we're all guilty of it. And it is good to get music, but you could get almost the same caliber music. But if you found it, you would have a bit more, I don't know, a bit more connection to it, and probably be a bit more willing to put it on the USB rather than it almost.
Yeah.
Getting promos is great, and like especially from you guys, because fuck, I have to say, like honestly, I'm not just saying this. It's probably the most consistent label at the moment for me. Like honestly, every release is. I know it's going to be good. It's getting to the point. Sometimes I don't even listen. I just download and then listen.
Oh man, that means a lot, man. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
No, I mean even like some of the big labels, there'll be 1 or 2 releases where you're like, not for me. But yeah, no, you really nailed your sound, and you're upholding a certain threshold of quality, and it's great to see.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, man, no worries. But you're saying about Jamie Jones. I was actually speaking to Mr. Diamond the other day, and he almost managed to get, this is a little insider goss. He almost managed to get signed to Hot Creations just by the email, and I never would have thought Jamie Jones would be like checking his promo email for unreleased tracks and shit like that. And
I've seen quite a few people. I've seen a few people like have results just by sending music to his email address or his secret SoundCloud account, or not so secret SoundCloud account. People, it works, man. It does work for some people.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're that good.
Mr. Diamond is good, though, to be fair. Mr. Diamond's producing some great music at the moment. I need to get him on the label.
Yeah, dude. I literally only found out about him like a month ago, and it was that Huff House release they had on vinyl, and I was just like, "Wow, this is sick." Went to his SoundCloud. He's only on really good labels. He seems to have just popped out of nowhere, and he's really making a buzz for himself. It's good to see.
Yeah, no, he's doing good, man.
Yeah, and
So who else did you say that you'd spoken to?
So far, I've spoken to Mr. Diamond, Parsec.
Parsec, he's been on music related. Good lad.
Yeah, that was a really good talk. He had a lot to say, and the Knott Brothers, which I think you're familiar with.
Yeah, also been on music related.
Yeah. I'm actually good friends with them boys. Like they're Sussex boys as well. So we've been on like a similar grind together. No, they're good lads.
They're doing their promos. They're doing their promo thing now, aren't they? Sort of like the premieres and things with No Relation Audio.
Yeah, and I believe you had a release on one of their VAs on their label.
I did, on the Selector series.
Yeah, dude, mate, that's a fucking tune. I was listening to that today a few times, and great. I think that might be my favorite track from yours, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah,
honestly, it's a bit of a banger. Like I remember when I made it, like I wasn't really. It probably falls more into kind of a tech house kind of sound, I guess, with a little bit. Well, I can't claim that it's minimal at all. Really, it's pretty much just tech house. But it's not cheesy tech house, not commercial tech house. And I remember when I made it, but I had no idea where to send it, and I sat on it for about a year, pretty much.
No way.
And then those boys messaged me and said, because I think I was planning maybe on releasing it on Music Related, and then both boys messaged and I sent it to them. They said, "Yeah, we'd love to sign it." I was like, "You know what? Let's go for it." So I sent it out through them. I'm a big fan of that track as well. I must admit, right? I don't know about how many other DJs say this, but like I've got to a stage in my life now where I either listen to music on the label or I listen to my own music. I listen to like podcasts and stuff. So like, I'm quite sad. I listen to my own music quite a bit because at the end of the day, I make it. I'm proud of what I make. So,
hey, I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I don't know if that's a bit too much information. I hope I'm not alone when I say that I do that.
No, you know what? I think there'll be a lot of producers happy to hear that because
Yeah.
I get silly to some of my tracks. Like I probably buzz the most
Yeah.
my music than anyone else.
When you do the car test, and you turn the
Oh,
volume right up, and
that's it, mate. Yeah, that's the one.
I mean, I don't get to drive on my own much at the moment because obviously, like with lockdown and everything, like I've been working from home, so I haven't really been out in the car. And when I do, I've got the kids and my wife in the car. And I'm like, I don't care. Shut up. I'm playing my music.
Yeah, you got to train him young to get used to the house beats.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I think my kids, without even realizing it, like house music and garage music because throughout the whole time my missus was pregnant, I had the music playing in the car, and I'm pretty sure they were like secretly enjoying it in the womb.
Mate, yeah, I got a little one as well now, 5 months old, and
Oh, congrats, man!
thank you. And I want to really like pick your brain about this, but anyway, yeah, she was having a bit of a hissy fit, and I put on this kind of garagey track, kind of like Zeb CO style. And she instantly got rid of her tantrum, and she started like just laying on her back, just kind of bopping. And I'm like, yes,
that's what you need. Find something that's a good distraction because honestly, it comes in handy so much. Like when your kid just kicks off and starts screaming, you need something just to completely switch the mind and take the mind off what they're kicking off about, which is quite often absolutely naff all. Yeah, my oldest is now like just over 2 years old, and he just screams my house down for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm at that stage now where I need to find something else just to try to distract him.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's enough parent talk. Anyway, this is a music related podcast, isn't it?
Well, you know what? Actually, because like you're experiencing this, I would actually love to know how do you manage your time with productions, running a label, keeping the missus happy, and having 2 kids? Because I've just got the one. Obviously, I've got the missus as well, and it's hard work, man. You got to really, I don't know, like time management.
It is hard. It is hard. I mean, like the thing is, like you say, like so, yeah, wife, 2 kids, full-time job, 2 record labels, and producing. It isn't easy. Having a social life and seeing friends, and making sure you're spending time with the missus and stuff. So yeah, honestly, the balance between it all is pretty. It's not easy, and I'll be honest. Like the production side of things for me probably takes the back seat most of the time.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to making music, I don't do it. You see producers who are in the studio every other day or every other week or whatever. I'm probably more like every other month, and I'll have like a stint where I'll make 2 or 3 tracks, and then perhaps nothing for another 8 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't made anything in about 8 weeks now.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's not easy, and obviously like work life takes up like best part of 40 to 50 hours of my week, and then family come first after that, and then whatever else I've got left, I fit in with just sorting out the label, because obviously with the labels, like that requires my attention every day. Whether it's responding to demos or sorting out artwork, distributing the music, promoting, posting stuff on social media, responding to DJs.
Yeah.
And it's just. But it is, but that doesn't feel like a job. You know what I mean? I really enjoy that aspect of running the label. Like the dream is obviously like to be able to do music full time.
Mm-hmm.
And it not feel like work. It's cliche as fuck, but people obviously say if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the.
Whereas I'm working a full-time job to support me and my family, and I'm working quite a lot of spare hours just doing the music stuff.
Yeah.
But it's love and it's out of passion, and it doesn't feel like work, and I don't mind doing it late into the night. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful. Yeah. So it is a lot of late nights then. So, basically it's get down, have dinner with the missus.
Yeah, so I don't get a chance to make music until I'll pick like a Friday night one time or something, and then I'll start once the kids have gone to bed, and then I'll finish at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I've made maybe 2 tracks or 1 or 2 tracks, not finished, but like sort of got a good
Foundation.
Grooved and structured. Yeah, exactly. Good foundation. Enough to come back to at a later date just to do some final mix sound. So yeah, the music kind of takes a back seat in that regards.
Yeah, I understand, man. I mean, I haven't finished a track fully. I don't think since my daughter's been born, which has been 5 months. I don't think I've actually finished, mixed down and mastered a track yet. I've made plenty of like starts and I've done stuff, but I got to get over this learning curve of having a baby first.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's so weird. Like in the past 2 years, I mean, if you can call it success. Obviously, the label's grown well. My music's sort of started to get well received. I'm signing to labels that I aimed to achieve on, and I, the labels that I've sent my music to and have signed it off the first. Does that make sense? Like the top of my list, I've sent the label. So yeah, so that kind of feels really good and responsive. But like I was saying, so at a time in my life where I have the least amount of time, I've made the most amount of time to sort of do it. Like for whatever reason, like when I was living in London, I must have spent like 2 or 3 years just not really putting any effort in. You know what I mean? I was kind of either running the label, I wasn't making any music, or what music I was just half-assed and not very good. And I wasn't really releasing. And for whatever reason, I've reached an age where I'm like, you know what? I've got a little chance at sort of pushing myself a bit more at it. I mean, I can't see myself ever really stopping doing this, to be honest. But like I say, I've got to a point in my life where I'm making it, even if it's only small snippets of time.
Yeah. Well, mate, I mean, that's actually, it's inspiring to hear that because, I'm at the beginning of the road where you were involved with the kid and the hustle and the music production. And it's good to see that since your babies have been born, you've actually kicked up the efforts. And I think you have to as well to really make it. You maybe need to do more than just make music. Maybe you need to be a promoter. Maybe you need to start a label. I mean, it's how I know about you is by receiving music from you guys. So
yeah, I mean that was. I mean, yeah, I mean me and Ben started music related coming up to 5 years ago now. It'll be 5 years in January. We threw our first ever party together, and yeah, I mean the label has opened doors for me. It's put my name in front of producers, and I've met so many DJs through just signing music. You think about how many artists we've had on the label. I don't even know what it is now. It's probably like 80 or 90, 80 artists maybe.
Wow.
And that's that's been personal communication on Facebook or whatever with every single one of those, and started a friendship with them. So it does open doors. It does help having the extra thing. I don't think anyone can just rely on being a DJ.
Yeah.
These days, I think you need to have the production aspects of it as well. And if you can be a promoter, great. If you can run a label, great. If you can run a podcast, great. Anything that opens doors, gets you heard in front of people that probably wouldn't have ever heard of you before.
Yes,
is always a good thing in my eyes. Yeah. So and the thing is, having a kid can be seen as an excuse for not doing stuff, but actually, once we're in bed, you've got time. It could just be used as an excuse. Whereas actually, if you just make sure that you focus on what you actually want to achieve and do it, and rather than use it as an excuse, you'll make something of it.
Oh man, yeah, that's it. Because most people produce around about the same time anyway. So yeah, there is no excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a bit more tired. But,
yeah, you'll be tired, and that is the only excuse I've kind of given myself, is that if I'm tired, sometimes the creativity isn't there, and if the creativity isn't there, then the productions will sound forced, and I'd rather not make music when it's forced like that. I'd rather get in the studio when I'm inspired to make some music.
Yeah, and you're going to get the best result. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
It does reflect in the music itself, for sure. So also speaking on this path of, putting on parties, you running your label, doing productions, I want to talk how the Fabric event started, because, I mean, that's pretty much going to be the top on anyone's list as a DJ in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, career highlight, yeah.
Oh man, just run me through it. So you it was obviously a music related party, right?
It was a music related party. So basically, Jacob Housley, I think that's how you say it, who was running the Sunday events at Fabric.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd love to. Here's a bit of insider knowledge, a bit of a snippet for people. So I'd love to say that Jacob messaged us saying he was loving what we were doing, and and I'd love to give you a slot on a Sunday. But it is literally a case of you don't ask, you don't get. Ben had messaged him saying, "Look, this is our label. These are the type of artists that we've had released on the label. We'd love to come and play on one of the Sunday parties that you're putting on at the moment. Is there any chance you could do it?" He checked out the label. He liked the sound, and we got the gig, man. So he basically gave us it was a Sunday party just before Christmas. I think it was the Christmas break. So everyone was finishing work for a week off. We decided to use the opportunity to invite some industry friends. So, like, rather than book a headliner, bearing in mind, I don't think we didn't really have a budget for the party anyway. So, so we invited some friends from the industry who were doing quite well, sort of probably pushing more of the UK garage sound at the moment. So we invited some friends across to do that. And it was just the most amazing experience ever. So, like, honestly, like, I can't explain to you how much of a natural high I came out of that place on. I was like, I can't believe I've just played at Fabric. You know what I mean? Like a lot of my friends aren't really into, house music, and so some people have groups of friends surrounded by them who are all into the same thing, go to the same parties, and it helps them actually in terms of like a DJ career, having a group of people like that around you. I'm not one of those people, unfortunately. I've had, like, my sister always came to my gig, my missus came to my gig, even though my missus wasn't really massively into the music, and we just came to support me. But yeah, like having a few friends of you just supporting you at a gig like that is nuts, absolutely nuts.
Mental. So was it in room 2?
Yeah, so I think we were supposed to be playing in room 1.
Oh, really?
Most of the Sunday parties were. Yeah, it was supposed to be. I think we were doing some repair works to the aircon or something. I can't remember, but there was a reason why we weren't playing in room 1, so we were in room 2.
Mate, yeah. Well, I went to a Sunday session last December, and I think it was in a mood, James Dexter's.
Yeah.
I think they had a night, and yeah, that was just room 2.
James Dexter was our first ever headliner, music related, 5 years ago. So there's a little link for you.
Nice.
And the beauty of it was that we had an invite to go back and play again this year. So we had another party lined up, booked in, ready to go, and obviously COVID came along. Of course it did. Of course it did. So the second gig we had lined up. Yeah, terrible.
Mate, the amount of fucking plans this fucking COVID has fucked up. God, I mean,
I know,
problems, but you know what I mean.
No, definitely. I mean, for me, like, I remember it was just before, I think it was obviously like just start of March. I think for the first time in my DJ career, I'd got a press shot, and I'd done a little Photoshop with all my upcoming gigs. Like, for the first time, I had a gig once every couple of weeks, and I was like, man, this year's looking great. And then boom, every single one of them wiped off. I was like, oh no.
Oh no, it's crazy. Just when you get into momentum, something like this happens. And
yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been saying it. It's like you use the opportunity to your advantage. I mean, those that don't work full time could use the opportunity to their advantage. Just sort of saying, making loads of music and doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, I say unfortunately. I mean, definitely fortunately. I'm so grateful to have a job that provides for me and my family like I do, like it does. Sorry. But yeah, obviously I've been working full time, and then you're in lockdown, so you kind of you try to do things with the family for entertainment. So I can't say that I've been making loads of music this year, but I have had quite a number of releases that have come out, free downloads that have done well. So 2020 hasn't been a complete write-off, not from my eyes anyway.
No, and I've had some big career highlights this year as well. So it's not all, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
But you know what? Like I have to say, I don't know about you, but aren't you a bit jealous of everyone on furlough and, in a sense, getting paid to produce music?
Yeah.
Mate,
I mean,
I didn't stop working. Well, I lost my job because of COVID. I had about 2 weeks off, but because I'm not a full resident yet, I was entitled to no money. I had to just go find another job. And meanwhile, some of my mates back home are on as much money or more than they were when they were working. And they haven't got a hobby like mine that requires a lot of time. And I'm like, fucking
so
bastard.
just sitting around not doing anything.
Yeah, they're complaining, and I'm like, fuck, if only we could reverse roles and I could be like paid to be in the studio all day.
Yeah, I mean, even if I was on furlough, I don't think my missus would have allowed me to just sit making music all day. I was thinking about it, like, you see people like studio day, or like the idea of spending a whole day in the studio for me just doesn't even seem realistic, because like even if I was to book a day off work, my missus would think that'd be a waste of a day for me to just sit in my basement studio making music all day.
Mate, I'm in the same boat.
So yeah, I mean, if a day comes where I can reduce my hours at work, or I can, or the dream comes to life that I can one day quit my job and become a full-time DJ, because at the end of the day, that is the dream. Even if, I mean, the idea of being able to wake up and make music every day would just be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even if I could be like part-time and then subsidize the rest of my wages with the odd gig, even that I'll be chuffed to bits with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this before. It was quite a depressing thought, actually, in terms of when you're younger, like, let's say 18, 19 years old, and the dream of becoming a full-time DJ. In order for that dream to come to reality, you could be earning, I don't know, I don't really want to talk about money, but in terms of how much money you need to live as an 18, 19-year-old, that dream could become a reality a lot easier. Whereas now that I'm nearly 32 years old, obviously I've got a mortgage, 2 children, and all the rest of it. So actually, the likelihood of that dream ever becoming a reality has just got further and further away. But it's still a dream. I don't take that dream away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's it. And that separates the people who are really in it for the love and who really want to do it.
Yeah.
And because I've seen people who, maybe they got their break a bit earlier than the rest of us, or whatever reason, and they're touring the world, and they're young. Like you see some DJs, they're like 22 and they've already made it.
Yeah.
And they haven't had that struggle, and I kind of wonder what it's going to be like when the scene returns, and because there's going to be big shifts in the scene, and like I wonder if these people are going to kind of stay around, because
I reckon they will. I'm curious to know what it's going to be like because it's not going to be overnight. No. The type of events that are going to be put on will still probably be restricted in some way. Yep. Therefore, the budget will be restricted. Therefore, the bigger DJs that you were seeing probably won't be booked as often, or they'll have to drop their fee in order to retain those gigs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's as much as it's such a negative impact that's happened to the music scene, COVID. It could be like a bit of a revival of like, I don't know, smaller DJs and people putting on events and wanting to go to an event to see the DJs that perhaps you might not have heard of before.
Yes, yeah.
Rather than going to see the same headliners at the same parties. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like we might not be seeing so many internationals anymore, because it might just be not logistically worth it for the prices that are getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. And then I don't know if Brexit's going to have a bloody impact on that as well.
Absolutely, that will.
Paying VAT, I don't know whatever tax there is for booking DJs from Europe and stuff. I don't know what the impact's going to be, but I'm sure it's not going to be as easy as it was.
You know what? I guarantee that will fall on the promoter's budget as well. I guarantee it. I can see Nina Kravitz or someone like that not being like, I'm not fucking paying the bill for playing in England.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, like, if it is a real slow startup, I wonder if, the Seth Troxlers, the Joseph Capriatis, will they go, you know what, I've had a good run. Maybe it's over for me now. Maybe people might not return.
I expect there'll still be a place for them. Festivals, big gigs like that. They won't be playing I say smaller venue, but like a big venue, but in comparison to a festival setup, you know what I mean? Because the festival fees that they must be like what 25, 30K. Some of them, it's insane.
Unbelievable.
Insane.
I'm all for artists getting paid and for their efforts, but man, it's hard to justify those kind of fees.
Yeah, for an hour. I mean, it's not an hour or two's work. I know it's not, and you should never look at it like that, because actually, it's for years. For some artists, it's for years that's gone into it. It's for struggle. It's for the hours of learning. It's not just 2 hours of DJing. But that being said, it's still a fucking lot of money. And if you're doing that, you're flying private jet from gig to gig. You've got 4 gigs in a weekend. And you're earning 100 grand in a weekend. Yeah, it's cushy, that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of COVID as well, I've been actually really curious. Has the input of demos drastically increased in your email?
Honestly, for us, not particularly, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we have always had quite a consistent amount of demos, and we're not inundated. We're not one of those labels that's getting hundreds a day. You know what I mean? So it's been fairly consistent throughout COVID, and perhaps people haven't been as productive as they've made out. The only person that I know that's been super productive is my label partner, Ben. Ben has been making bare amount of tunes, man. I don't even know where he's getting the time from. Like, honestly, he's just having release after release after release after release.
Nice.
So yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I at the beginning of this thing, I was speaking to some of my other producer mates, and I was sure that, because so many people had all this free time, I was sure that if you didn't send off demos soon, that you probably wouldn't get released till 2022.
Because of a backlog.
Yeah.
I must admit, for us as a label, I hate the idea that we're signed up until 10 months in advance. Like, I hate having for a period we're having to refuse music, because I was back in June, I think I was basically saying, unfortunately, we're booked up to May next year, and I just don't want to take any more on, because it's just getting too far ahead. You know what I mean? So I hate that aspect. I hate the idea of artists having to wait a year for the music to come out and stuff like that. I mean, COVID's kind of done that to me and some of the labels I'm releasing on. Some labels chose to keep on releasing throughout COVID, like we did. Some chose to, thinking it wouldn't be fair to the artists to give them the fair crack of the whip kind of thing, to release the music. So a lot of our labels put the music on hold, but actually then realised they need to keep going. So some of the music that I signed over 12 months ago is still not got a release date yet, but I'm still buzzing to be releasing music with the labels, so it's all good to me.
Is that because are you waiting for the clubs to reopen? Are certain releases more maybe club orientated? Is that strategical?
I mean, well, it's not. I say it's not. It wasn't me. It's the labels. I assume it's more to do with the fact that if the clubs aren't open, people probably aren't buying as much music. I mean, at the start of lockdown,
it's hard to break the record at the clubs, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of DJs are probably still buying bits of music for podcasts and mixes and stuff, and some people are just still buying music because they love the music.
Yeah.
But we've definitely noticed the sales sort of tail off this back end of the year, with clubs not being open. I mean, the first sort of royalty check that came through was kind of standard for where we did expect to see it, but then the second one, or the last quarter, was a bit lower. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it just all comes down to how many DJs are wanting to buy the music. That's as simple as that, isn't it? So
yeah, right. So you haven't changed your ethos towards the label. You haven't. Have you tried to strategize with COVID or anything like that, or is it just business as usual?
No, we've just done business as usual. We haven't changed anything whatsoever. We right at the start, me and Ben sort of said, are we gonna change anything or do anything differently? And we haven't. We've just kept consistently doing the same thing, releasing music, and then we have actually put on a couple of parties as well when lockdown ended. So that was actually quite good. So things kind of felt like they've been relatively normal for the year, and it has just been business as usual. So.
I mean, that's good, man, because I think labels are starting to realise that is what you have to do, and this thing's going to be longer than we thought. And, you know, if you're not releasing, you're not relevant anymore. And
yeah, that's the worry, isn't it? Because I mean, we're coming on to 10 months now since the lockdown started, and yeah, 8 months without releasing anything is quite a long. It's quite a long hiatus to be quiet for, isn't it? So keeping, whether it's doing free downloads, whether it's doing podcasts, whether it's doing mixes or whatever, keeping doing something is the best way to stay relevant, and that's why we just didn't change. I mean, admittedly. You know, this has been one of the years where we've invested quite a lot in the label as well. So we'd paid for quite a bit, you know, big remixes coming to the label. So
yeah,
in some respects, that could be seen as from a business point of view, it's not the most sensible. You know, if your sales are down, you don't really want to be investing in the releases, but actually. I think it's probably done us wonders to have bigger artists come to the label and be a label that's still relevant during such a difficult time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You had a Ray Mono remix at one point.
Yeah. So that was we kicked off. Yeah, we kicked off the year with KRS2 and the Ray Mono remix. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a really good EP.
And then we had industry. Sorry, go on.
No, you go first because I kind of want to change the subject.
Oh, no, well, let's change the subject. That's fine.
Okay. No, it's on labels, and I was just curious about when you receive demos, like what is it you're looking for? Like, obviously, you're looking for a great bit of music, but do you look into the artist's like socials? You know, are these factors into signing music? Or is it just purely the content of how good the music is?
I'd say it's like maybe like 99% the music, honestly. Like I always say that, like, I put it this way. So I received a demo yesterday and I've forgotten the artist names. I think her name was Natalia or something. And the music wasn't right for us. The music was good, but it wasn't quite right. And she'd sent a really good demo email. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's introduced herself. She told us that she was a fan of the label and which releases she'd liked. She gave us a bit of feedback about her and then attached the music. And I applauded her for the way that she presented herself because it came across really well. But some people are just sending music saying, "Hey, here's a demo. Do you want to sign it?" And you kind of be like, well, you know, you can put a little bit more effort in. But if the music's really good, then I wouldn't turn it away. Do you know? Like, ultimately, it's got to come down to if the music is good enough. And usually, like, I don't need to listen to the entire song to know whether I'm going to sign it or not. Like, I can listen to a 10-second snippet and I'm like, right, it's caught me. And then I'll listen to the entire track just to make sure there's nothing that stands out in it. But it doesn't take long for me to decide whether a track's right or not. You can hear that the production sounds tight. You can hear that there's a catchy stab, or there's a catchy bass line, or there's a vocal in the breakdown that's really bloody beautiful. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't take much to hear something that really just grabs your attention.
No, you're right, mate. And yeah, we've all been there on Beatport or whatever. Yeah, and you do know. Like, sometimes, don't get me wrong, some songs, I've even had some songs that I've downloaded or whatever. I have it on my USB, barely gets touched. Maybe I hear it in a club and I'll be like, holy shit, is that the same song? Like, oh my God. Let me go back to that. I didn't realize that level of how good it was until I hear it in the appropriate environment. But you are right, man. You can tell.
And you're right, actually. The appropriate environment can make a difference to actually how a track sounds. Like, some tracks don't have the same impact as it would do in a club. You know what I mean? Like, just listening on a little crappy pair of iPhone headphones. Not that I ever do that, but you know what I mean. Like, you're lacking any of like the real low end bass or whatever that you would get in a club environment. So completely, the environment makes such a difference.
Absolutely.
And I was thinking about this the other day, actually, when we were talking about earlier on, we mentioned about I probably wouldn't download music unless I've got a gig coming up, just because I don't want to hoard loads of loads of MP3s on my USBs when I haven't really listened to them. Converted to that, it's not the same with buying records, because actually I'm happy to build a collection with records, and actually you might buy a record because of the A side track, and actually you come back to that record in 2 years' time, and you listen to the B side, and you're like, fuck, it's like I've got a brand new bloody record again. So it's completely different. It depends on the format. It depends on the environment as well. 100%.
Absolutely, mate. And I got plenty of records that I couldn't even tell you who the artist was, but I'll spot the label and I'll know that's the track I'm looking for. And
I'm exactly the same. When it comes to my record collection, I'm terrible with names, absolutely horrendous. I'll just recognize the vinyl by the color, the picture, or anything like that. The artist names, I'm useless.
Some of my favorite songs, I don't know who even did it.
I know, it's bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, I was wondering, do you ever go back to the artist and with the demo and be like, look, I love this, but the bass line just isn't working? Or you ever tried to develop
100%.
songs?
Yeah. I see that as a good thing. I mean, others might think you shouldn't really be giving that kind of feedback, but actually for me, So there's been a couple of tracks on my garage label, Subtle, where they've sent through the track, and I thought that the structure just wasn't quite right. And there was long periods where just nothing really happened, and I told them to maybe at this timestamp cut out the synth or the pad and just have it just for the drums and the bass, just to have a bit of a breakdown. Or I've said I think the bass is just a touch too loud in the mix, bring that down. And I will always try to give constructive feedback, even if I'm not signing the music. If someone says, could you give some constructive feedback, if I've got the time, I will always do it, just because I think it's so helpful to have people's opinions on the music. So I mean, I'm not afraid to give constructive feedback. And if a person turns around to me and says, no, it's my production, I think it sounds good the way it is, you can piss off. Fair enough. You know what I mean? Music is subjective, and my opinion isn't necessarily the right one. I'm happy to give feedback if it's warranted.
Yeah, but it's the right opinion of the label, But also, there is a bit of controversy in it, and I personally relish it, not only because it's a lot better than just having no response from a label. And if it's a label I want to release on, then I'd like to know how I can do that in the future. So if that isn't the right track, help me see what will be the right track.
Yeah. So we received a demo last week, and it was just the link to a single track, and it was sent to, I think it was about 11 different email addresses in the to folder. It was literally everything you should never do when sending out a demo. I could see all the other labels that he'd sent it to, and I responded just saying, no, this isn't how you send demos to labels. And then he said, have you got any tips? And I'd written a Facebook post from just over a year ago, just giving people advice on how I'd like to receive a demo. And I sent him a screenshot of that post, and he said thank you. So hopefully he won't make the same mistake again. But I could have just ignored him. But I thought, actually, you know what? Let's give him a helping hand and hope that he can pull his socks up and do make a right choice when he makes another track. So hopefully that was helpful.
It's kind to be mean, whoever the expression is. I mean, I'm not saying you're being mean, but you're helping it in the long run, and it's a good thing, I think. And don't get me wrong, I've also been the artist too, where I'm like, no, this is perfect. I don't want to change it. You can either kind of have it or not. But then there's also been times where I'm like, I trust that person's opinion, and if they're saying, look, this vibe, the breakdown's not working or whatever, then I'll definitely go back and I'll rethink, and I will try stuff. But if I can't pull it off, I will say I'll stick to my guns.
Yeah.
And it's been many times where that's been the result of not signing to the label I wanted, and them being good labels. But I think that's all part of the game.
Yeah, completely. You should trust your own judgment as well. Completely trust your own judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. Because look, we've all had it, right, where we're sitting on what we think is probably our best work, absolute bangers. We've played it to our DJ mates. We've maybe even played it in a fucking set, and people love it. And then you think it's just right for this label. You send it to them. You're so excited, and they're like, you know what? We're not vibing with this one. And I'm like, but
yeah,
you like all these other tracks, and they're not even half as good that I sent you.
Yeah, but they're a big name.
Yeah.
We've all been there, and to be honest, like there's so many knockbacks in this industry, so many knockbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I'm quite a sensitive person myself, so I've taken things not necessarily personally, but you take it a little bit harder than perhaps you should, because you need thick skin in this industry, because there's so many knockbacks. Like every time you send a demo to a label, if it's not quite right, they'll tell you it's not quite right, and you'll have to go on to the next one, and then on to the next one, and then on to the next one, and then eventually someone will fall in love with that track and they'll release it. I mean,
and then that song will chart.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to think
it could chart, and it's
and people
or it
love
could do
it.
nothing, but yeah.
But it's funny how you can't just take maybe. You're right. You do have to trust within your own music. You have to trust what is good. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but then sometimes the song that the label said wasn't that great fucking does really well, and massive DJs like play it out at gigs. So you have to just have that confidence and that trust, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
I saw Chris Stussy played one of your tunes out.
Mate, that was probably also up there with one of my career highlights, because you see loads of people like sharing videos of DJs playing the music, and I'd never had that before. So I've been producing music, I was thinking it was like 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And for years my music was sort of plateaued. I wasn't really, I don't know, I think I got to a point where I just didn't know how to make my music sound better. And then in the past couple of years, I think things have sort of, I've learned a load of little tips that I just thought have made such a big difference to the quality of my production. So to finally have a big DJ like my music and play it out it was nuts, honestly. So I remember I sent him the promo on like a Friday. I mean, I checked that night and he downloaded it. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's actually downloaded it. Wow. And then the next day I was just on Instagram, and he posted like 4 different clips of him playing. I think it was Sash in Melbourne or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that one track? I was literally, I was sat in the car, like bouncing in my seat. I was just like, man, it was such a fucking good feeling. My kid was asleep in the back. He wasn't asleep for much longer. So I was just, I was like, yeah. And and then since then he's downloaded a few of my tracks. So it's nice to know that you likes of Chris Stussy supporting your music, man. I can't tell you how good that feels. It's so reassuring.
Bro, I'm so happy for you, man. I actually caught him that tour, and I must have heard some of. I think I really like. It was the Perth show. There was a lot of tunes. I was like, I know this song, and it might have been alcohol, but yeah.
Yeah.
And look, if he was digging it to play at Sash, I'm sure he knows many other times when he played it that tour.
That's the thing. The thing is, you got to think to yourself, how many times do you reckon perhaps DJs have played your tunes, but no one's been there to capture a video and you've seen it?
Yes.
For all you know, it could have happened loads of times. It's just sheer like luck that he caught that on video and posted it that following day. I mean, I couldn't believe like how lucky I felt for that to actually happen. And yeah, it was such a good feeling, man. I got royally pissed that night because I was so happy.
Dude, I had my first one of those moments this year as well. Where I had Andre Olivia play one of my tracks at Printworks, and I fucking
Amazing!
mate, I lost my shit.
Printworks is fucking huge as well.
I
man.
know, man. Honestly, I couldn't.
It's like 10,000 people or something, is it? Or 2,000 people?
Dude, and like so, basically, the way I discovered it, like we were saying, like people could have played music you don't even know. So I saw he Beatport charted my tune, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I wonder if he's been playing it out. So I get on his Facebook, I get on all his YouTube videos, and that morning I just started listening to all his set. And there was a Printworks gig that was also streamed live on Beatport, and I'm just listening to the set, having a chilled out Saturday morning, and I can just hear my snares coming in. And I'm like, damn. And then it comes in, and I was just like, no fucking way.
Mate, congrats, man. Such a good feeling.
It's better. It's been the best feeling in my career so far. Way better than any kind of like charting or whatever, or review. To really, and it's streamed live on Beatport, and to see all the people and hear the reaction.
Yeah.
Of that many people, dream come true. Don't get any better.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like we dream of having those gigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be that person playing my music to that many people, but I'm not. So to see someone else doing it for me, like I'll tell you what would be just as good would be to
be in the crowd.
Because actually, this was one of my like a weird bucket list item thing I wanted to tick off would be like either to be in the crowd and hear it.
Me too.
Or to, the identification of music group on Facebook. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen that one. No.
There's a massive group. I think it's like 200,000 people in it. Anyway, people posting there, I'm looking for this track, what is it? And everyone seems to find it. And I wanted someone, that was on my bucket list of people to say, oh, what is this track? And I can't say, I mean, it was close, but not quite. Basically, Ozzy's remix of my track Creed on the Kuna Records, one of my latest release. Jay Stewart, who's been going on social media doing the gigs in the streets and stuff. Have you not seen him? He's been massive on social media.
Oh, yeah, is he
carries the decks around with him?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So one of his videos went viral. I think it had like 1 million views, but someone had posted like, "Oh, what is the track at 1 minute 30?" And it was Ozzy's remix of my track Creed. No, it wasn't quite my track, but it was still pretty cool for that to happen. But mate, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know if you could ever get bored of that experience. I don't think. Like, just constantly coming across your music being played in different videos and shared, and you're like, wow.
Yeah,
this is great.
It is special. Have you heard of the app Songstats?
The what, sorry?
Songstats. It's an app. It's basically...
Oh, Songstats.
Yeah, have you heard of that one?
I don't know if I have, actually. I've heard of Beat Stats. I haven't heard of Songstats.
Oh, maybe it's... Let me have a look. Here. No, Songstats. So it's probably just a similar thing then. But yeah, you just type in an artist's name and it shows you everywhere it features, been charted, even SoundCloud or whatever. And
amazing.
Yeah, and so not only that's how I also found out Andre Olivia played the same track he was supporting on the Claude Von Strock radio show.
Oh, so good, man.
Yeah, it's a really cool little feature.
I'm making a note of that right now.
Yeah, download that because, mate, yeah, it'll even show like SoundCloud reposts.
What's an app?
Yeah, it's an app. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. I'm going to download it.
Yeah, and I went on 1001tracklist.com and just searched my name just to see if anything came up. And actually, one of my remixes, like a remix of my tune, was played at Burning Man. So
man!
Like, oh, fucking hell! Okay, that's
cool. So cool, man.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
But it is brilliant, and it definitely doesn't get old, and it always kind of fires me up to get back in the studio, you know, because it shows that people, you know, they're digging it. Some people are anyway. Yeah, so definitely download that one. But yeah, I have to say as well that I think my number one fantasy now, apart from obviously like playing Amnesia, is being in somewhere like Amnesia and I'm just having a great time and the DJ drops one of my tunes. I think that would be even better than actually playing. Honestly, I really.
How would you react to that?
I don't know. You know, at first, I don't know. If I can contain myself, I would try not to tell anyone, just to look around me and see how people are generally getting down to it.
That would never happen.
Yeah, oh mate, I would just be probably wailing my arms.
This is my track. Finger above my head. This is mine. Yeah, this is mine.
Just run up to strangers.
To everybody. My track. And then get the phone out and film it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so cool. It's so cool, but I'd definitely do that. Yeah.
Oh man, no, that would be good. Have you been to Ibiza much?
Honestly, I've only ever been once, and it was years ago. I don't know why. I don't know why I haven't been as much. I mean, to be honest, I don't know how much big super clubs and big rave type scenarios like that really appeal to me. Like I've always been a small, intimate party kind of guy. Okay, so I've been to like things like Stoner's Festival in Croatia. Some waves in Romania. So I've always sort of done other things rather than go to Ibiza because I don't know. It's not that it doesn't appeal to me because obviously it does. It's just it appeals to me probably a bit less, and I haven't got. Like I said early on in the call, I don't have a huge group of friends who are into like house music and stuff. So to get a group of mates or the missus to come with me to Ibiza just hasn't been. The offer just hasn't been as bare as much, so it's a bit of both, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was pretty late onto Ibiza considering most people, and you know, my friendship circle, a lot of people were really into house music and had been going to Ibiza summer after summer, and for some reason I wasn't too interested. But I went to one closing and I was just like, holy fucking shit. I know it's cliche, but the fucking energy in that island, to me, is just unparalleled.
Yeah.
And I've been to Croatia. I've been to lots of places, lots of festivals, and people just seem to be happier there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the memorable experience for me when I went to Ibiza went to Space. I think it was the last day we were there, and it was Joris Born who was playing, and he played beach ball.
Oh yeah.
People get ready. I won't sing, but you know which track I mean. And I just remember the sun was coming up, and that song came on. I was like, oh my god, what a moment! And that moment stuck with me my whole life. And then when I went outside, I bumped into someone that I knew. It was crazy. It was mad.
It is those Ibiza like sunrise moments that for me, those are always the moments I do remember, especially Amnesia, where they've got windows on the ceiling and it lights up the whole fucking place, and the energy really shifts into like we're fucking partying now. I don't know what it is. You get this extra energy off the UV rays or something. You just kind of
you get a natural boost.
Yeah, just like right, round two, even though we never left.
Let's go, start again.
Yeah. Oh man. No, it's a real shame because I'd actually planned to go traveling around Europe this summer or last summer, and Ibiza was obviously going to be one of the stops, and COVID had to fuck everything up again.
There's always next year.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the good thing about Ibiza is, it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. Definitely. This is a thing. I feel like 1 year out of our long lives is not a huge impact, I guess, for most people. So that's the way you've got to kind of look at it, haven't you?
That's it, man. And now that these vaccines are rolling out and hopefully people in government will be a bit more relaxed, and hopefully, I think because the ultimate goal surely is just herd immunity, and I think you can't run from that. You need to tackle it head on. But that's neither here or there. I don't want to get too much into fucking COVID. I think we're all bored to fucking death of it by now.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, man. So, like, what you got planned for the future? Speaking of which.
Okay, so for me, continuing with music related, we've got, like I say, first 5 or 6 releases of the year sorted out. We're kicking off a year, one with Ben in January and then one with me in February. I've got a big remixer on my EP, which I'll keep under wraps, so I'm looking forward to that. I've got an EP on Hatch and an EP on Syntax Records coming as well at some point in the not too distant future.
Nice.
And then I've also got my second vinyl release as well.
Nice.
I mean, it's supposed to be February, but because of COVID, it's impacted the plant pressing. But I've got my second vinyl release coming, hopefully before summer next year as well. So yeah, busy, and I'm hoping to start getting those gigs back as well.
Yeah.
So I can start playing my music out. Yeah. So I've got a nice little release schedule coming up. I'm going to do some more free downloads as well, because the free downloads have done really nicely on my SoundCloud, and I've enjoyed making them and giving them away for free.
So do you promote those free ones?
Yeah, I mean, I
ball rolling.
Share them on social media and stuff like that. But using, like Hyped It. Have you used Hyped It before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a download gate. So basically, anytime someone downloads it, they have to repost it on their SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So the track can just start tailing off, and then it can just gather momentum again, because someone will download it who's got like 2,000 followers, and it just snowballs again. So the download gates, like, which I've had, I think like both my tracks were like around 24,000 plays and 1,500 likes, which is just nuts for because most of my stuff was like, if I reached 1,000 plays, I would be happy. So those two free downloads have been really, really successful from that point of view.
That's good, man. Because I mean, I don't know, maybe you haven't noticed this, but for me, it really feels like SoundCloud is kind of plays wise, it's really gone down.
Plays are rubbish, yeah.
I think it's because of Spotify, obviously. I think that's the mainstream.
Yeah, because of Spotify. I just think people are using it less, obviously. Like, you're looking at people with like 20,000 followers, and they'll post a track, and they'll get like 200 plays. It's like, how is this even possible?
Well, you know what it is? It's the setup of the app or the desktop, where it used to be everyone you followed would be your front page, would be your screen,
your home page or whatever, yeah. But
and
now
now
they've got rid of the stream,
algorithms, and they have pre-made playlists, sort of what Spotify are doing, but they're kind of going against everything that made SoundCloud great, and they're just kind of following.
Every decision SoundCloud has made over the years has just been horrendous. Like, being able to, when you used to have that stream, you used to be able to repost your own music, and then you bring it back to top of people's streams. But then we thought that people were like spamming music, and so for something that you pay for, it's probably my most hated subscription that I have. Like, I'm happy to pay for Netflix. I'm happy to pay for Amazon Prime. I'm happy to pay for Spotify. I begrudge paying bloody for SoundCloud, and I've got 3 accounts, music related, sort of on my own. So I'm giving them 30 quid, and I hate the product. It's crap. But there isn't an alternative, really.
It's bullshit. And also, once you've released enough content, if you haven't got a pro account, people can't see a lot of your tracks because you've gone over the allowed storage. So
exactly.
It gets to a point where you almost have to keep paying.
You have to pay for it. Yeah, you have to pay.
Yeah. Mate.
In order to keep your music there, you have to pay, but the actual service that they provide is crap. So yeah, that's one of the annoying things about the SoundCloud. Anyway.
How do you feel about Spotify being a label
owner? Obviously, it's not the best in terms of the royalties and that kind of thing. I get that, but this year I've made a big push on my own SoundCloud, on Spotify. I've made a big push myself this year to try grow my own artist. And as a label owner, I'm more than happy for, like, you know, artists to continue pushing their own thing. The royalties that come through are, you know, it's pittance. It's not, you know, I mean, like I said, for me as a label owner, I want to clarify, like, the money aspect doesn't even come into it. We're putting more money in than we're taking out from it, if that makes sense. So it's never been about the money, but if Spotify is the way and streaming is the way that the industry is going, as crap as the, you know, the royalties are, it's just the future, isn't it? And we've got to get with the times, basically. It's going to be the same sort of discussion that people have over, you know, MP3, CD, and records, isn't it? It's just, unfortunately, it's the way the times are going, and we've just got to sort of crack on with it and do the best that we can out of it, rather than moan about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still pretty old school. I don't even use Spotify, mate. I still use YouTube and SoundCloud for all my music. Honestly, I don't even use it, but it just
the algorithms of Spotify is great for giving you new artists, and actually,
is it though? Like,
because I gained loads of new listeners, like, recently from Spotify putting me in other people's artist radar playlists. So they put me in front of other people, and I had like 2-3 different people message me over Instagram saying, I just came across your music on Spotify, really liking it. I was like, wow, amazing. Oh, wow. Thank you. So yeah, definitely, it's definitely something that artists need to get on board with and push as much as we can, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had much success with it, but then again, my release schedule this year has not been that great. And, you know, I have heard that's one of the tipping points of the algorithms, that if you consistently release, they will spread your music out to other people's related music or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah. So let's go back to your vinyl release. I mean, that must be an amazing feeling.
But yeah, having my first ever vinyl release on Rough Set Records, UK garage, sort of an old school label. When I got my hands on that record, I can't tell you how good it felt to drop the needle on it for the first time and just hear my own track come back. It was nuts. Again, you know, talk about this bucket list. There's so many, like, bucket list things that you want to tick off, and that was another one of them. So yeah, it's been quite a good year of ticking things off for me.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like, you keep saying these highlights, and it's funny because I've had similar sort of experiences all this year as well. But I mean, for me, I didn't actually have a release. I just cut my own dub. I just paid for a service, but I know the feeling where you just drop that needle on. It's your track that's coming.
Yeah, man, it's great. It's so good.
You know. It's the real deal, isn't it? You know, you can hold it, you can feel it, you can smell it.
Yeah, I've stuck one up on the wall as well.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
got to be done.
You know, I was watching a Wu-Tang documentary on Stan. It's kind of like a Netflix here in Australia, and they were talking about this little hustle they used to do with the records in the beginning of their career, and the guy who would go out and hustle all the records to record shops, he would go in and he would ask for that record. He'd be like, never heard of it, blah blah. And then he would go in and he would pay other people to go in and keep asking for
it. Smart move.
Right, yeah. And then he would come back and then he would go, oh, so do you want this record? He'd be like, yeah. People have been really demanding it and stuff like that. So you do little like hustles like that, little tricks of the trade, and yeah.
You know, I was telling you about that the identification of music group on Facebook. I've heard of people getting a friend to film someone DJing or playing the track, and then getting someone else to post it in the group. And then loads of people start going, oh, I want to know what this track is. I want to know what this track is. And then the record label then post what the track is and say, oh, it's out now. Go and buy it. I mean, it's a hustle, but it's quite a smart hustle, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit sneaky and underhand, but it's also quite smart as well.
Oh, mate. And look, I mean, going back to the Wu-Tang story, to think that like record stores did not want to sell that first album, and it's considered one of hip hop's masterpieces. I mean, it just goes to show that you do have to believe in your music and you have to push it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man. So, what's the deal with your new vinyl release? How do they do promos for that? Do you know?
So I think they do it all by hand. I think from memory, I think what he said was there's 200 copies. He distributes it all himself. There's no digital version of it. Once 200 have gone, there's no repress. And I've just seen on his Facebook that a couple of his earlier releases have sold out. So I'm super excited to get on that. I don't want to release what the label is or anything like that at the moment, but I can't tell you how excited I am to have another. This one's not garage either. This is like nice deep house vibes for the summer. So I'm really looking forward to getting that one shared.
That's brilliant, man. That's exciting. Yeah, you need to send me the link to that one because I'll be.
Yeah, I will do. I'll send you a private link, Tom.
Yes, please, man. Listen, dude, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do want to thank you for doing this because, yeah, I just really appreciate you just taking the time to have a talk and just let me get into your world.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I really, really appreciate you asking me to do it. Like, it's quite a humbling thing to be asked to do a podcast like this. So obviously, yeah, I feel honoured. So thank you very much, Cody. Appreciate it.
No, my pleasure, mate. Pleasure's all here. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess this is goodbye.
Yeah, man. All right. Take care of yourself. I'll catch up with you soon.
Okay. See you, dude.
Hi, welcome back to the Afterparty podcast. I'm your host, Cody Monroe, and today's episode is sponsored by Pornhub. Get all your filthy fantasies out. Oh, God. Alright. So, this guest is, yeah. Wow. I really wish I didn't smoke a joint right before recording this. But you have to live with the choices you make. Alright, anyway, so my next guest is Luke Hazell. Luke Hazell's co-owner of Music Related Records, one of my personal faves. Yeah, I highly rate this label, very consistent sound. But more importantly, this is about Luke. I am fucking rambling. What is going on here? Oh dear. I don't like to make it easy for myself, so I smoke as much weed as possible. Oh God. Alright, take two.